You know, as a fan, I'm just greatly disappointed, and I know it's been a while since I've made a video like this, and it's actually been at least a couple of days since my Blast from the Past review, but man, we are only a week away from the show in Australia, and after how Triple H has been poorly booking the entire build-up and everything else, I'm actually really glad I didn't try and make my parents go out of their way to pay me money to go to this event. Because honestly, I would be really upset. As a fan, I would be greatly offended and really upset with the matches they have given us. Once again, Triple H and his classic 5-match pay-per-views. These have got to stop, Triple H. These have got to stop. You need to stop doing these kinds of matches. There's literally no championships on the line. And no, I'm not counting that stupid Crown Jewel garbage they've got going on before someone says, actually the Crown Jewel championships are on the line, so technically there is a championship. No. These Crown Jewel belts were designed specifically for Saudi Arabia, but instead they decided to bring them to Australia simply because the show is called Crown Jewel. The show's called Crown Jewel, so I guess we gotta get those Crown Jewel championships onto the show. Which is so stupid. We don't want to see this. There's no way the people in Australia are gonna cheer for this. Wow, Cody Rhodes won a ring! Wow, Seth Rollins won a ring! Wow, look at... Crikey, guys! Stephanie Bakir just won a ring! Oh, wow, crikey! Tiffany Stratton is the Crown Jewel champion! My God, I'm so excited! We shouldn't be excited for this. This isn't things we want to see. This isn't what we paid money for. And honestly, after the disappointing build-up, and look, the matches themselves will be good. And again, that's the problem. The matches themselves are not going to be bad. It's just that we probably aren't going to care all that much. It's like what Triple H says. He just wants people to enjoy the shows. He doesn't care about storylines. He doesn't care about things making sense. All he wants is for his audience to shut up, sit their asses down, pay them their millions and billions of dollars for their thousands of dollar front row seats, and just cheer, have a good time. That's all Triple H wants the fans to do. If we criticize his product, he will tell us to F off. He will tell us to F off if we don't like his product. If we criticize and complain about anything he does, he will go out of his way to tell us to go F ourselves and stop watching. He doesn't want people to be critics. He literally had AJ Styles on Raw literally tell their audience that his match with John Cena doesn't need a story. On a live microphone, live on Raw, he literally told the fans, my match with John Cena doesn't need a story. You know Triple H told AJ Styles to say that. You know damn well AJ Styles was told to say that by Triple H. Triple H told him to say that. Just because certain fans just want to know what's the story. And more importantly, the John Cena AJ Styles match is only happening because John Cena went online and told Triple H this is the match he wants. And AJ Styles wanted it too. And then Triple H was like, sure, fine, okay, whatever. So he literally booked the match just because Cena said he wanted it, because Cena said it. Cena literally said, I don't pick my opponents. He has said that so many times, but then Triple H is like, actually, John Cena picks his opponents, so technically, we gave him Brock Lesnar because he picked him as his opponent. No, I don't believe for a single godforsaken second that he picked Logan Paul as one of his opponents during his retirement tour. I absolutely refuse. Can we see evidence? Can we actually see evidence of this so-called list that John Cena made? Everyone keeps claiming that John Cena made a list of names he wanted to wrestle. Can we actually see this list? Can we actually see legitimate evidence of this so-called list that John Cena made? There is no list. There's no way Logan Paul was on that list. Logan Paul is a Triple H guy. And Logan Paul is everything that's wrong with WWE. But again, this is exactly what fans want Triple H. Again, Triple H is the kind of guy that fans just want to kiss up to. They just want to look out for him and be like, yay, Triple H is great, he's better than Vince. I keep hearing people say, well, the shows aren't good, but, try watching WWE during the Vince McMahon era. I've heard people say that. They're like, oh, well, you may not like it now, but we had it worse when Vince was in charge. Yeah, we did, but we still stuck through it. But at least there were storylines. At least Vince gave us storylines back then, even if the reasons for some of those storylines happening were really freaking stupid and dumb. Like Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns fighting over dog food. But at least it was still a story, even if it was really dumb. At least they still did have storylines, even when it was actually really lame and stupid. But Triple H, his stories are no stories. His stories are go and wrestle. Those are his stories. His stories are just two wrestlers in the ring having a good match. Those are Triple H's stories. He's like, you don't need a compelling storyline to get the fans interested. Just go out and have a good old-fashioned banger of a wrestling match. Sheamus got that term over, banger after banger after banger. But because he got that over, they've now decided to basically ruin that term and just have the commentators like Wade Barrett say every match was a banger. Like, every match is a banger. Every single match on the card is a 5-star banger. Like, literally destroying the term banger. And that's what WWE does. Whenever something is cool, whenever there is something that's cool that is said, they ruin it to the point where it's no longer cool. So this entire card, while the matches themselves will be good, and that's, again, my main issue. My issue isn't the good wrestling. My issue is the storytelling. They've got Seth Rollins being the sympathetic heel, trying to be like, oh, he's doubting himself. He doesn't know if he can beat Cody or not. Paul Heyman is now teasing he might actually leave Seth. Like, why? He's a heel. Why should we be feeling bad for him? He's a heel. Why should we be feeling bad for the leader of the Vision? Why should we be feeling bad for the leader of the Vision? Like, we got Becky Lynch wrestling Maxine Dupree instead of building her storyline with AJ Lee. Look, no disrespect to Maxine Dupree, but Becky Lynch should be more focusing on her storyline with AJ Lee, but instead AJ Lee comes back at WrestlePalooza, wrestles the match, taps Becky out, and then she disappears for 3 weeks. Like, how in the world do you not continue the story with Becky Lynch and AJ Lee? Like, I don't even think AJ Lee's even been mentioned since then. It's almost like she just decided to come back, tap Becky out, and then just retire again. There's just been no mention of AJ Lee, no mention of her at all. Like, Becky Lynch hasn't mentioned her at all. It would have been better if the crowd chanted "You tapped out" at Becky Lynch just to drive her crazy. But instead, but to drive her crazy, that AJ Lee made her tap out, but instead, no, we're just gonna pretend that never even happened. Like, no continuation of the Becky AJ story. But instead, we'll have Becky Lynch start a little mini rivalry with Maxine Dupree. I mean, good for Maxine. She's getting TV time. But seriously, if there was going to be no follow through with the AJ Becky stuff, then don't bring AJ back just for a one-off match. To me, they brought her back because they thought it was, again, they brought her back for the sake of a pop, a viral moment. Triple H has no idea what to do with AJ Lee. Do you really think Triple H is in his creative room right now trying to think of creative storylines for AJ Lee? We'll have AJ Lee wrestle Chelsea Green. Yeah, that'll be a good match. I'll have her work with another babyface. I'll split my audience by having babyface AJ Lee wrestle babyface Stephanie Vakir or Io Sky or Rhea Ripley. Because I gotta split my audience. I don't know how to book face versus heel matches. This dude has literally got CM Punk and LA Knight and the Usos in the main event of Raw, and the crowd are just confused. Sitting on their asses, not even cheering, not even booing, they're just sitting there on their asses as if they don't know who they're supposed to be cheering for. Like the Usos laid out CM Punk and LA Knight, and then the crowd are like, what? Should we be happy about this? Should we be happy about this? CM Punk and LA Knight, they're two of our favorite wrestlers, and two other guys that we also like. They just laid out two other guys we like. And then you got Rusev, who's supposed to be a monster heel. He's chasing off Dominic Mysterio, who's also a heel. This is what I mean. Triple H's booking is garbage. But people want to sit there and say we should be worshipping Triple H. Oh, but we can't complain. We shouldn't be complaining about Triple H's booking, because if we do, apparently we want Vince back. That's how the world sees it. The world sees it as, if we complain about Triple H's booking, then we want Vince back. No, we don't. No, we don't. We just want good storytelling. We just want Triple H to improve and get better. But no, he doesn't want to do that. He just wants us to shut up and enjoy his product. He doesn't want us to he just wants us to shut up and enjoy it. Who cares if there are 4 baby faces in the ring? Enjoy the show. Who cares if 2 heels are fighting each other? Enjoy the show. That's Triple H's motto. That's how Triple H works. Like, you got Stephanie Vakir and Tiffany Stratton fighting each other, who are 2 baby faces. Again, you're splitting your audience. You're splitting your audience once again by doing this stupid Crown Jewel thing, by having 2 baby faces fight each other. But now let's actually have Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Vakir team up on SmackDown against Julia and Kiana James. Can the 2 challengers who are fighting for this Crown Jewel ring, can they coexist before their big match in Australia? Oh boy, is that gonna be a good match? Oh boy, can't wait for Julia to potentially eat the pinfall loss, because no one cares about the United States title. Instead of giving Julia an interesting storyline to someone over the US title, let's just have her involved as the 2 women's champions. For no reason. No reason at all. And you wonder why these mid-card titles fail. And I remember I remember a year ago when I made a video about this a year ago. And then I had someone in my comment section telling me how wrong I was. That it was the perfect time to bring in these titles. Yeah, these titles I've done, outside of Becky Lynch, who has been doing her damnedest to make the Intercontinental title seem like something, how many good things have we seen out of the US title? Chelsea Green did nothing with it. Chelsea Green did absolutely nothing with it. Zelina Vega, God bless her soul, she did her best. God bless Zelina's soul, she did her absolute best at that title. And now Julia, I also feel the same way. She's trying her damnedest to get this belt over, but even she can't barely do anything. And her credibility and aura has been ruined simply because they got her with Kiana James. Instead of building her up as a dominant heel, they're just like, no, we got Kiana James by her side. And she needs Kiana's help to beat people like Michin and B-Fab. Julia, one of the most vicious, dangerous women in Stardom, needs Kiana James's help to beat people like B-Fab and Michin. How terrible is that? That is why I say Julia's aura has been ruined. How in the world do you have someone like Julia, but she needs outside help to beat B-Fab and Michin? I know she's a heel, but it's B-Fab and Michin. If it was Nia Jax, I would understand it. If it was Tiffany Stratton, I would understand it. If it was Rhea Ripley, I'd understand it. If it was a top-level superstar, I would understand the cheating tactics. But it's two jobber talents in B-Fab and Michin. She doesn't need help to beat them. But now they're trying to involve her with the Stephanie and Tiffany story. And again, they're both baby faces. So again, you're splitting your audience into, oh, who the hell are they going to cheer for? They're probably going to cheer for Tiffany Stratton more. Because remember, Australia last year, in 2024, we were the ones that started the whole Tiffy time stuff. We were the ones that started Tiffany Stratton's popularity. So the Australians will probably cheer her over Stephanie. At least that's what I think. Again, I don't care about Cody and Seth. Sure, their match is going to be great, but again, I just wish it wasn't over. This Crown Jewel stuff shouldn't be happening. This Crown Jewel shit should not be happening, especially in Australia. We do not care about this. We're not going to cheer someone winning a title that's never going to be defended. Oh yeah, can't wait to show off my new Crown Jewel ring. Man, oh man, the greatest accomplishment of my life. Oh man, my career was made. My career was defined when I was given the Crown Jewel ring. Stupid. This might be the time they have Seth actually beat Cody, because I think I remember that Seth has never beaten Cody. Maybe this is where he actually does beat him. Probably not. I don't know. Personally, I don't care. Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually really don't care. Like, I love Cody, I love Seth, but I genuinely do not care for this. I just don't. The only decent storyline that I'm actually interested in, which is Rhea and Io against the Kabuki Warriors. Funny enough how the only decent storyline that's on Raw is the only thing I'm excited for. The Kabuki Warriors, Rhea and Io storyline. While it just started off as just Rhea wanting to prove that she can beat Io, it's now gone from I want to beat Io to now I'll be Io's friend. And it's now causing Asuka to get jealous. And Kairi Sane, who's not a heel, but she's being forced into wrestling like a heel. But I feel like it's going to lead into Kairi finally eventually turning on Asuka. But since we all know Triple H's booking, it's probably going to take 2 years before Kairi finally decides to turn on Asuka. And finally stand up to her. Because we all know Triple H's booking. Let's drag it out as long as we can. We got to drag out Kairi wanting to turn on Asuka for a long time. We got to drag it out for 6, 7, 8 months. We'll sprinkle a little bit of teasers here and there that Kairi will finally do it. But it will never happen. It's the same thing with the Judgment Day. They did the same thing with the Judgment Day. They sprinkle a little bit of tension here and there, teasing that something's going to happen within the Judgment Day, and then it never happens. And then it never happens. And then they tease it again. Oh, we're going to do a little bit more of a tease. We're going to tease it again. And then nothing. So it'll be the same thing with Kyrie. They'll tease dissension between her and Asuka, but it will never happen. It'll never lead into anything. And then by the time they finally have Kyrie pull the trigger, the fans would have lost interest. And this is why I don't like Triple H's booking. He drags and drags and drags and drags and drags things out. Yes, you don't have to rush everything. I'm not trying to say everything should be rushed, but not everything needs to take 6 damn months. Maybe at least a couple of months at max. 2, 3, 4. Not everything needs to be dragged to WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Not everything needs to be dragged until WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Not everything needs to be dragged for those big pay-per-views. And that's what Triple H does. He just drags on these storylines because he's like, oh, it'd be better if we do the turn at WrestleMania, or we do the turn before WrestleMania and set it up as a big match. You don't need to do it until then. You don't need to do it then. Sure, you can still do the match, but does Kyrie need to turn on Asuka before Mania? No, you can have her turn before then. Like even a few months before then, and you can still set up a match between them at Mania. Doesn't that literally have to happen close before the event? But again, that's what I feel like. I feel like Triple H is just going to drag this whole thing out with Kyrie, with Asuka, and then by the time when Kyrie finally does decide to pull the trigger, the fans aren't going to care. Because Triple H took way too damn long to pull the trigger. And that's what he does. He takes too long to pull the trigger. So that's what I think what's going to happen there. I do think Ripley and Io should win, and poor old Kyrie is going to be the one to take the pin. I think it would be better if Asuka did, so then that way Asuka can get mad at Kyrie for not trying to help her or anything, but it'll most likely be poor old Kyrie that'll have to eat the L, because God forbid if Asuka actually loses anything, because fans get pissy every time Asuka takes an L. And then we get the one match that I'm not entirely looking forward to. It's Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Like, we've seen this match already. Look, I know they're doing this because Bronson's Australian, okay? But we just saw this at Clash of Paris. We saw this at Clash of Paris. We saw this at SummerSlam. Roman is 2-0 against Bronson Reed. This is why I've been saying, and I've been hearing people say this, that Bronson Reed losing these matches still makes him a mid-carder. And it does, because he's not beating Roman Reigns. Because apparently beating Roman Reigns should be treated as a big deal. But again, it's more the case of, well, you want to create new stars. You want to show your audience that Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker are the future of your company. Then why not have them beat a guy like Roman Reigns clean? It's not going to do any damage to Roman Reigns. It's not going to damage him. It won't do any damage to him. Like, the crowd will still go crazy for him when he comes out. Jesus H. Christ. Like, I remember friggin' Sasha Banks taking a loss to Dana Brooke on the first SmackDown of 2020, and everyone was so livid about it, and it didn't hurt Mercedes at all. I remember I've seen so many big names drop matches to wrestlers on a lower level than them, and they were still fine. I remember seeing on an episode of Raw when Evan Bourne beat Chris Jericho in a tag match. And he also beat Chris Jericho at a pay-per-view called Fatal 4-Way. And it didn't harm Chris Jericho at all. It didn't do any damage to him. And it elevated Evan Bourne. It elevated Evan Bourne, made the crowd care about him a bit more. And it did no damage to Chris Jericho. Because Chris Jericho is one of those guys that fans like to see lose. It doesn't do any harm to these people. It does not do any harm to these wrestlers if a big name every now and then drops a match to younger talent, and do it when it matters. Don't just do them just because, like what they did with Austin Theory. When they had Theory beat Cena, it did nothing for Theory's career. You should only have your big names drop matches. Like, look at Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. They're in a feud right now with Sol Ruka and Zarya. How big of a win would it be if Sol Ruka wrestled Alexa Bliss or Charlotte on Raw, and then, boom! Soul Snatcher, 1, 2, 3. It would be a huge win. And it will make Sol Ruka a star. The crowd will go crazy. They're like, whoa, holy shit! That Sol Ruka chick from NXT just beat Charlotte Flair, or she beat Alexa Bliss. Whoa, holy crap! Huge win. It will make the crowd react and be like, whoa, holy crap, that was a big win. It'll make people care. But if you have these younger talents lose to these people over and over and over again, the fans are going to think less of them. It's just a jobber. Just a jobber talent. Nothing really special. And that's the thing that annoys me a little bit. I feel like Triple H doesn't take risks. He's too afraid to have these big, precious talent wrestlers to take a loss every now and then. Oh, Seth Rollins can't drop a match to Otis. Oh, Becky Lynch can't drop a match to Ivy Nile, even though she dropped the match to Maxine by countout. Can't have Charlotte Flair lose to Zelina Vega or whatever, or B-Fab. No, I can't have her lose to B-Fab. They can't do that, right? Can't have Cody Rhodes. Can't have Cody Rhodes lose to like who on SmackDown's a lower card talent that wouldn't really benefit? I don't know. I can't think of anyone. Carmelo Hayes. Maybe Carmelo Hayes. Something like that. Well, boy, oh boy, can't wait for Carmelo Hayes to pin The Miz. And they're going to treat it like it's a big win for Carmelo Hayes, please. But again, I just want to see more of the bigger names, take some L's and, put over some of the younger stars. But again, Triple H is too afraid to do that. He's too afraid to do that. He's not willing to take that gamble. You wonder why there are no new stars being created? Because they're too afraid to take gambles. They're too afraid to try new things. Yes, Stephanie Vaquer is champion. Yes, Julia is champion. Yes, Tiffy is champion. Younger talent who are the future of the company. Yes, great. Yes, great. Good. Yes, great. Nice. But you got Judgment Day still as tag team champions. We've got the Wyatt Six. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte. Who's going to beat them? When you take the titles off of Charlotte and Alexa, who's again, like I said, who's going to benefit from it? Whoever beats them needs to benefit from it. You're going to have Sol Ruka and Zarya do it? It'd be a big win for them if they did. But again, you got Bliss and Charlotte. Who's going to beat them? Are you going to have a rising young team do it? Or are you just going to force two other big names to come together and beat them because you can't think of anyone younger? But again, this whole event, I'm just disappointed by it. This whole event, I feel disappointed and ripped off by. And also, I hate how WWE is now resorting to bringing back the bloodline story. Roman Reigns is now with the Usos again. Come on now. Really? And the fans eat this up. And that's the thing I hate. The fans on social media eat this up. As if oh my god, Triple H is cooking now. He's got Roman Reigns having tension with the Uso brothers. Come on now. Do we really need to see this again? I don't like using the R word. I don't want to use the R word, but it's done for ratings. Triple H has only paired them together for the sake of ratings, because the ratings are so low, the ratings are down as hell. And that's really it. That's really it. The ratings are down. The ratings are suffocating. There's nothing good going on, and Triple H is now a desperate man. He's now a desperate man. And because Netflix aren't happy with how their ratings have been going, ESPN, crapped on their first PLE. WrestlePalooza gave it a C. Now Triple H is desperate. Now he's hitting the panic button. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Everyone's talking bad about my product. Should I tell them all to just shut up and enjoy the show? Yeah, he tells his audience to shut up and enjoy the shows. Why isn't he telling the Netflix people to just shut up and enjoy the show? Why is he not telling the ESPN executives, shut up and enjoy the show? Because they're investors. You can't tell investors to just shut up and enjoy what they give you. If they're not happy about it, then you have no choice but to bend the knee and change things up. But Triple H is so desperate, he's now getting the Bloodline arc back together because he's so desperate for ratings, because he knows people like it. He knows the people will eat it up. He knows the fans will eat it up. He knows the fans will eat it up because, oh, cinema. Because he'll know that the fans will say that word. It's cinema. He will see that the fans are now are reacting positively to the Roman and Usos things. He'll be like, great, let's keep it going. Since the fans like it, let's keep it going. But whenever the fans, react in a negative way, he's all like, oh, just shut up and enjoy my show, damn it. All he wants is positivity. All he wants is people to just accept it. There was an old saying, accept what you get. That's what Triple H wants. He just wants you to accept what you get. Who cares if you see Maxine Dupree on Raw wrestling Becky Lynch? Just accept it. Who cares if AJ Lee isn't on the show? Accept it. Who cares if 4 baby faces like Punk, LA Knight, and the Usos are wrestling in the main event? Accept it. That's what Triple H wants you to do, and their audience on Raw were absolutely confused. Absolutely confused during that main event. They didn't even know who they were supposed to cheer for. Triple H can't even do babyface versus heel correctly, because he's got 4 faces fighting for some reason. Then you've got Rusev and Dom fighting over the Intercontinental title, and both guys are heels. Oh no, who am I supposed to cheer for? Then you got Roxanne beating Lyra, which is awesome. Finally, she got a win for the first time in 5 years. But now, the problem is, we're going to get a 3rd match between them, because Lyra won the first time, and then Roxanne won the second time. So now we need a 3rd, final rubber match, because they're 1 apiece. Let me guess, are we going to get Bayley and Raquel again, and then this time Bayley beats her? Oh boy, need another match, so we can get a decider. Come on now. Triple H doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a horrible booker. But people will just continue to eat it up. People are just going to continue to accept what he gives them because, well, at least it's better than Vince. It's better than anything that Vince ever did. Because that's all that matters to these people. They don't care if it's bad. They don't care if it's bad. It's like, well, at least it's better than Vince. It's better than anything that Vince McMahon gave us. So you're literally admitting that the show is garbage, but you're like, well, at least it's better than, yeah, it's bad, but it's not as bad as all the stuff that Vince gave us. So you're basically admitting that the shows are bad, but, well, I will accept this kind of bad wrestling over the type of bad wrestling that Vince gave us. And look, I'm not a Vince guy. I couldn't stand Vince in charge either. But you can't But you just can't say stuff like that. You're basically admitting that the shows are bad, but you'd rather still watch it. In my opinion, if the shows are bad, you gotta say that the shows are bad. But again, in the Triple H Paul Levesque era, you can't say anything is bad because you'll either get fans telling you, if you don't like anything that Triple H gives you, you're a Vince McMahon supporter and you want Vince McMahon back. And if Triple H hears you say anything negative, he'll just tell you to shut up and enjoy the damn show. That's the problem with today's wrestling. Triple H doesn't listen to his fans. He doesn't want to change anything. He's happy with how he handles everything. He's happy with 5-match PLEs. He's fine with not having champions defend their titles for 5 months with only 1 or 2 title defenses. He's okay with it. He doesn't want to listen to his fans. He doesn't want our feedback. Because he doesn't care. And that's the sad part about this show. I want to be excited for Crown Jewel. But the matches on here, while they are going to be good, they're just not going to live up to expectations. And it's a shame. It's a darn shame. They're just going to be random. They're just random matches. This show is like a Monday Night Raw episode, but just in another country. It's just like a Monday Night Raw, just with a fancy name. At least AEW at least try to get all their title matches on pay-per-views. And you can complain how long their shows are. You can complain about their shows being 4 or 5 hours long. You can complain about their shows being long, but to be honest, I kind of rather longer shows over having 5 matches on a pay-per-view card. And 0 titles actually being defended. And no, the Crown Jewel titles are not being defended. I'm not counting those Crown Jewel championships as actual championships. No titles are being defended in Australia. No titles are being defended. It's just 2 top world champions fighting over a title that clearly isn't a real title. It's just to get yourself a nice little ring. Congratulations, you got yourself a ring. Be happy about it. The greatest moment of my career is when I won the Crown Jewel Championship. Man, it defined my career. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.